Hello to the pessimistic, optimistic, and everyone in between. My name is Connor Philippi, and welcome back to the Minnesotan Sports Podcast. And the divisional round is upon us after kind of a wild card round that left a lot to be desired. Just like last week's wild card round, it just felt like all the games were either blowouts or, there was really one close game the entire week, which was the Rams and Lions. And there were still some really good storylines, and some teams won that I was hoping would win. Some teams won, especially the Packers, that I was hoping wouldn't win. But it is set up for what should be some really good games. One that might not be as close as the others, but the rest of them should be fantastic games, hopefully. And I think that there's going to be some fantastic games the rest of the way. So without further ado, let's just get into these ones, and we'll start with the Texans versus the Ravens. And obviously, the Chiefs and the Bills are going to be a fantastic game as well. But I honestly think this might be the best game of the entire week. I mean, the most anticipated for me for sure. We've got C.J. Stroud as a rookie breaking all the numbers and just showing himself as the future for this franchise and for the league. And he's going up against Lamar Jackson, who is just a specimen in and of himself. The way he's able to dominate both the run and pass game is just unparalleled. So it'll be the most anticipated quarterback matchup for me personally, even with Mahomes and Allen about to face off on Sunday night. But there's going to be a lot of questions in this game as well. First of all, I think the main thing to ask is, how is CJ Stroud going to deal with that pressure of being on the road? He has gone through his entire rookie season with flying colors, and he was able to breeze through the first round of the playoffs, but now he is heading into Baltimore, one of the loudest and most heavily backed fan bases in the NFL right now, and it's going to be a hostile environment, and the question is he going to be able to handle that? And he is really being thrown into the fire underneath the lights in his very first year as an NFL quarterback. So how well is he going to be able to handle that pressure is going to be a major question in this game. Also, can the Ravens get pressure defensively and force turnovers? That'll be a major thing. The Ravens being the one of, I don't know if they still ended up being that, having that title at the end of the season, but they are one of, for sure, the highest scoring defenses in the league. They're able to get turnovers, they're able to score touchdowns off those turnovers, and even one or two of those turnovers could end up being the difference in this game if the Ravens are able to take advantage of a couple C.J. Stroud mistakes. And C.J. Stroud did make a couple mistakes in that game against the Browns. He had a wide open pass that he missed. Obviously, it didn't end up mattering because the Browns played so poorly, but those are mistakes that he is not going to be able to make and still win against a team like the Ravens and the defense that they have. Will the Ravens find their rhythm early is another big question. This Ravens team, when they get going early, they get in a rhythm and they are consistent the entire way through the game. This is one of those teams where we were talking about earlier in the season how home field advantage would end up being a huge factor for them, because on offense they have this rhythm and they get into it and they're able to be comfortable, and when they're not under pressure, they're able to deliver the ball perfectly, and then you got that run pass option for Lamar that's still in check. If the Texans are able to disrupt that, I think the Ravens could be in trouble, and it's just one of those things where if you are in that rhythm, have that mojo going, you're borderline unstoppable. But if not, the Ravens have definitely shown inconsistencies throughout the course of this season, so that'll be a major factor as well. And then the final question here is, which wide receiver will end up being the guy for Lamar Jackson? Because it feels like in a lot of different games, it's been multiple different people. And so which guy is Lamar going to be able to find? And if he can't find someone, is his running ability alone going to be able to take the Ravens over the edge in this game? And going into the prediction here, I wanted to be able to pick one upset throughout these games, and there may be more coming, just to preface that. But the one is going to be the Texans for me. The Texans are going to win this one 27-24 over the Ravens. I just have a good feeling. It would really suck for the Ravens, considering the fact that this happened to them a few years ago against the Titans, where they were the number one seed. They had the the all the momentum going into the game, and then they kind of just laid an egg. There is something to be said about having a full 2 weeks of rest after the regular season is over as well, and not to mention the fact that the Ravens played their backups for the majority of the game at the end of the season. So there might be some guys coming in rusty as well. That'll be a factor. I just feel really good about the Texans and CJ Stroud going into this game. If there's any upset that's going to happen, I feel like it's going to be the Texans over the Ravens. Packers versus 49ers. Now, here is hoping, as Vikings fans, that this is not another um, upset for the Packers. First of all, the main key to the game is the 49ers effect. The 49ers have now knocked the Packers out of the playoffs for 3 of the last, I think, 6 years, dating all the way back to, I can't remember that when the first time, it might have been 2019, but the Packers were knocked out of the NFC Championship game 2 different times over the last 6, 7 years, and they most recently got knocked out of the playoffs a couple years ago in a game that I won't soon forget, where the number 6 seeded 49ers went into Lambeau and won off of a game-winning field goal at the very end. I was so hyped about that one, which is kind of sad that that's how I get my kicks, is watching a Packers team that's more successful than the Vikings finally getting knocked out of the playoffs. A little sad, but it's fine. But another factor for this game is, let's be honest here, if the 49ers are able to establish the run early on in the game, it's lights out. I don't think it's going to be close if that's the case. The only way the Packers are going to be able to win this game is if somehow Christian McCaffrey has an off game and this Packers defensive line is able to crowd the box and really get to this running game and force Purdy to be uncomfortable and try and force the issue himself. If McCaffrey is on and he is churning up yards the way he usually does, I don't know if there's any way the Packers can win this game. Next up, Jordan Love versus the 49ers defensive line is going to be a major factor as well. I talked about how Jordan Love is prone to sometimes making mistakes when he's under pressure, and that the Cowboys were going to be aggressive and were going to attack, and that didn't end up happening in this game. But I definitely could see the 49ers doing that, rushing the passer, and Jordan Love, when he is forced to get out of that pocket, he also might need some help from his wide receivers in this game too. But we have definitely seen over the course of the season Jordan Love make those mistakes. So if the 49ers defense and the defensive line with Bosa is as successful as it has been all season, again, I don't know if the Packers have a chance in that regard either. Also, the Packers offense is going to live and die by Aaron Jones. If Jordan Love is going to go up against that D-line all by himself with no help, the Packers are screwed. Aaron Jones has been so good all season long, and in that last game against the Cowboys, he was able to deliver when they needed him, and they're going to need him because he is really the only guy available right now besides a couple really young guys for the Packers running the football, and the D-line is just as good at stuffing the run as it is against stopping that pass. So Aaron Jones is going to have to find a way to get an above average performance over these 49ers if the Packers are going to have any chance of winning. My prediction, however, is that the 49ers are going to dominate this game and win 42-23. I just don't know if the Packers have the firepower to make it past another round. And it's already very impressive that they were able to get to this point. I have to give them credence. As a Vikes fan, it was really impressive the way they won against the Cowboys. I feel like their run does come to an end, though, and the 49ers will advance to the NFC Championship game. And now, who will play them? Will it be the Bucks versus the Lions? As the Lions have yet another home playoff game, which is crazy. The Lions would have to hope the Packers would not somehow knock off the 49ers to get a home NFC Championship game, but we'll have to see if that happens. The main key to the game for this one is it will all come down to that battle between the Lions offensive line and the Bucks defensive line. We saw the Bucks absolutely destroy in their game in the wild card round. Why am I blanking? Against the Eagles. Jeez, that happened like 2 days ago. And we thought that it was going to be the Eagles defensive line that ended up keeping the Eagles in this game, but no, it was the Bucks defensive line that put Jalen Hurts under so much pressure and just completely stopped the run from happening throughout the course of that game. And so that will end up being a big factor as the Lions running game was one of the main reasons they were able to open things up on offense so much in that game. Goff also had so much time to throw. So if this Bucks offense or defensive line can disrupt things, Goff has definitely thrown a lot of turnovers in select few games this season, and in those games, he was pressured more than really any other games this season. Games like against the Bears and the Packers this season was when he put up some serious clunkers. We know it's possible for Goff to do it, and the Bucks defensive line is the defensive line to be able to find that weak spot for the Lions. But if the Lions are able to run the ball the way they did last week, I think they're going to be in a really good position against this Bucks team. Another question is, can the Lions defense lock in for 4 straight quarters? It's going to be a major question mark because the Lions were able to get up to a certain amount of points before the half. The Rams got to that point too, and then it became a defensive struggle. And I just don't know if it's going to be that black and white between an offensive first half and a defensive second half in this game in particular. I think the Bucks are going to be a little more consistent throughout the way. So if the Lions can get up to a good start and the Lions defense can stop things in that first half, I think they're going to be able to get to their strength, which is the running game, and churn that down throughout the rest of the way. But if the Bucks keep it close, it's going to force Goff to continue to throw the football more and more. And when he's under pressure all game long against the Bucks, I feel like he's prone to make a mistake at some point in that second half, and it could end up being very costly for the Lions if it gets to that point. So for the Lions, they need to get ahead early and just rely on the running game the rest of the way against this Bucks defensive line. And then finally, if this does end up being a very offensive affair, can Baker Mayfield survive a shootout? We saw how well he's been able to lead this team throughout this season. He's emerged as a great leader and a great captain for this franchise right now. We talked to Mike Evans about how he missed a couple of catches in that first half and how Mayfield was, right there saying you got it. And that's great teamwork and leadership from him. But I just don't know yet if he has the potential to survive in a shootout against Jared Goff in this game. I feel like he's relied a little bit on the defense more so than Goff did throughout the rest of this season. And so if it does come down to that point, I think Goff definitely does have the upper hand. Long story short, I do have the Lions winning this game 34-24 over the Bucks, and I don't think that will be a blowout. I think that the Lions will get up to that 10-point mark late in the fourth quarter, and the Bucks just won't be able to mount a comeback that late in the game. And then finally, I was saying the Texans-Ravens was more exciting than this one, but another very highly anticipated game, the Chiefs versus the Bills. This time it's taking place in Buffalo at Highmark Stadium. Is that what it's called now? Anyway, want to know one stupid fact is that Patrick Mahomes, this is going to be the first away playoff game Patrick Mahomes has played so far in his career, which is just dumb and annoying that the Chiefs have gotten that many home games and that many AFC Championship games straight in their own building. And what would be even more obnoxious is if the Chiefs were to win this game and my prediction about the Texans and Ravens comes true, then the Chiefs would get another AFC Championship game in a row, which I think would make it 6 now. If I remember that correctly. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong about that, but that would be really obnoxious. But the Bills going into this game, Bills Mafia will be a huge factor in this one. Again, Chiefs are not used to playing away playoff games. They are used to the weather. That's not going to be a factor. Both teams are going to be well aware of what the weather is going to be like in this game and be able to play with it. But that home field advantage for the Bills is something they have not had the pleasure of having against the Chiefs in the last few years in the playoffs. And so it will be definitely a factor. Also a factor in this game, can Patrick Mahomes get enough help from guys not named Travis Kelce and Isaiah Pacheco? Those have been the two guys that have really been helpful for the Chiefs. And there's definitely been other guys that have contributed. Sky Moore has had his share of games and other players as well. But I feel like another guy is going to have to emerge for the Chiefs in this game. The Bills have Stephon Diggs, that is the guy. And obviously health is going to be a concern as Diggs did get hurt in the last game. It looks like he is going to play, but will he be 100% is the question. But the Bills have their guy, and they have their tight end, and they have their options. The Chiefs are going to be able to run the ball well, but after the running game, they have Kelsey, and can they rely on Sky Moore to be a four-quarter guy that is going to be able to deliver in the most clutch moments? Maybe. We're going to have to see, but it's going to be a major factor. Can Patrick Mahomes carry this team again, as wide receivers are at a premium right now for this Chiefs team? Running backs, or the running game, is also going to be huge for the Bills, as James Cook was tearing it up last week. And also, not only will the running game be huge for Josh Allen passing the ball, but it's going to create a triple threat. Because not only, if James Cook is running the ball well, not only do you have to look out for that, you then have to look out for the pass. And then if you feel like you're getting caught off guard by the pass, you go to try and stop the pass. And then here comes Josh Allen running up at the middle. And we just saw him break a 40-plus yard touchdown run as a QB, which is just insane. So that's going to be a factor too. Can the Bills' running game keep their momentum that they've had the last few weeks? Because if they are, it's going to open up the offense completely, and it's going to be really good for this Bills team. And then finally, can Josh Allen keep a level head? He's got those flashbacks, that PTSD from the 14-second game where he thought he had led the Bills to a trip to the AFC Championship game against the Bengals, just for it to be ripped away. Literally a perfect game played by Josh Allen, just for his hopes to be ripped away like that. He's going to have to get over that mental barrier. And a lot of Bills players, honestly, are going to have to get over that mental barrier. And when Josh Allen is playing with a level head, when he isn't overthinking things, when he has his eye on the ball and he knows what his objective is and he's playing loose, he's playing free, that is the most dangerous quarterback in the NFL. And I know that's a little bit of an overstatement to say, but it really is true. Peak Josh Allen is the best quarterback in the league. No, I take that back, because Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league. But big play potential is definitely up there with Mahomes. Who has the most potential for a big play in those moments? I feel like that's actually pretty close. I can't say he's better than Mahomes, though. I'm just saying peak Josh Allen is at least top 3 in the NFL, and you have to be careful of him in this situation, but he has to be careful of himself. It's really a mental battle with himself, and which version of him are we going to see is the question. So we've got Bills, Chiefs. I feel like in my heart of hearts, I can't not pick the Bills here, just because, yes, the potential is there for the Bills to screw the pooch, for Josh Allen to throw multiple interceptions, and for the Chiefs to win yet again. But if I'm looking at both these teams on paper, I just cannot pick against the Bills here. They are playing with all the momentum in the world right now. The Chiefs have a lot of uncertainty in terms of who is going to be that next guy up besides Travis Kelce. And I don't know, this Bills team is firing on all cylinders. They are really feeling good about themselves right now, and I have to pick them. I'm going to say it's a very close game, though, and I'm going to say the Bills win 31-28. So there you have it for this predictions video. Please let me know in the comments what you think, what your predictions are as well. If there's something you thought I got drastically wrong, let me know in the comments. I'm sure Ravens fans will be coming into the comments making their case for why that is a bad prediction. And honestly, I could see the Ravens winning too. Like, it really was a toss-up. But I'm hoping I can actually get some of these right, because in my bracket I did on ESPN, it's all messed up because I had the Browns winning and I had the Cowboys winning and all that. So hopefully I can get a 4 out of 4 for this week worth of games. But thanks so much for watching this one. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the flip side.